Good morning, my dear friends. As we read through the Bible together in 2023, we begin a new book in the Old Testament this morning, and this evening we do begin a new one in the New Testament, or maybe we began the new one in the New Testament yesterday. I can't remember. Anyway, I told y'all the book we're going to next in the Old Testament was a surprise, and it is the book of Job, one of my favorite books of the Bible. Job is one of the guys in the Bible that I can relate to in so many ways. So many ways. Jonah is another one, Paul is another one. But anyway, we're in the book of Job right now. And since we're just reading through the Bible together, I'm not going to give any commentary, or if I do, it's going to be very, very little. My regular videos gives more commentary. Okay, here we go. Job chapter 1, verse 1. Oh, one more thing. I don't know if you saw my last video yesterday where I was going woohoo, excited about the warm 25-degree weather. Well, it ain't warm no more. And I am not wearing my short sleeve shirt anymore. It is 12 degrees and the wind chill factor is 2 degrees. But it's supposed to get warmer later today. All right, Job chapter 1, verse 1. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. And that man was perfect and upright and one that feared God and eschewed evil. I'm in the King James Version. The author of the book of Job is not known. Quite a few thinks it was Moses. Moses wrote about a bunch of people back in the days, and so that's probably who the author is, but no one knows for sure. And there were born unto Job 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels and 500 yoke of oxen and 500 she-asses and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feastings were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, It may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. This was back in the days of the law. Job kept their sins covered for him. And y'all, my sinuses are draining like crazy, so y'all excuse all that. It's not fun. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord, and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. He's looking for people to devour, friends. And the Lord said to Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made a hedge around him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power, only upon himself put not forth thine hand. Y'all, God is in control of Satan. He only allows Satan to do what he wants him to do, or what he purposes him to do. That's changing soon. Soon, during the tribulation, God is going to withdraw his restraint, and he's going to let Satan totally rule and reign on the earth for 7 years. But right now, in Job, and right now today, God is still in control of him. There was a day when Job's sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, The oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabaeans fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and only I am escaped alone to tell thee. Oops, I turned 2 pages instead of 1 there, friends. Hang on a minute. My hands are cold and frozen and dry and stiff. Okay. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The Chaldeans made out 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, Thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house, and behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Job just lost everything he had, including his children. Then Job arose and rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground and worshipped. And he said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Y'all, back in 2014, when my daughter was dying, she was in a hospital from January to June. She died in June. About 2 months before she died, God gave me a couple of chapters of Job for my morning time with God, and I read it. And I studied it. 2 weeks later, my morning Bible study with God, he gave me the same 2 books from Job. And when I opened the Bible and saw it and remembered he had just given me that a couple of weeks before, I kind of chuckled and I said, God, are you getting dementia? You just gave me this a couple of weeks ago. 2 hours later, I got the call that my daughter had died. Then I understood why he gave it to me again and why he gave it to me 2 weeks before. He was preparing me, getting me ready. And there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil? And still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin. Remember the first time God and Satan had that chat, God said, do whatever you want to him and his belongings, but don't take his, no, it said, do whatever you want to his belongings, but don't touch Job. Well, this time, God changed a little bit. Satan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. And he took him a potsherd and scraped himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Then said Job's wife unto him, Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? And all this did not Job sin with his lips. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place. Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, for they had made an appointment together to come to mourn with him and to comfort him. And those are 3 friends I wouldn't want to have myself. And I've had friends like them too. A lot of times. And when they lifted up their eyes afar off and knew him not, they lifted up their voice and wept. And they rent every one his mantle and sprinkled dust upon their heads toward heaven. So they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and none spake a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great. A woman, friend, could not have sat and not talked for 7 days. I guarantee you that. I don't know a woman on earth that could go 7 days without talking. After this, opened Job his mouth and cursed his day. And Job spake and said, Let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night in which it was said, There is a man-child conceived. Let that day be darkness, let not God regard it from above, neither let the light shine upon it. Let darkness and let the shadow of death stain it. Let a cloud dwell upon it, let the blackness of the day terrify it. As for that night, let darkness seize upon it. Let it not be joined unto the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Lo, let that night be solitary. Let no joyful voice come therein. Let them that curse it, let them curse it that curse the day, who are ready to raise up their mourning. Let the stars of the twilight thereof be dark. Let it look for light, but have none, neither let it see the dawning of the day, because it shut not up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hid sorrow from mine eyes. Why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? Why did the knees prevent me, or why the breast that I should suck? For now, should I have lain still and been quiet, I should have slept. Then had I been at rest with kings and counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves, or with princes that had gold, who filled their houses with silver, or as a hidden, untimely birth I had not been, as infants which never saw the light. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. There the prisoners rest together. They hear not the voices of the oppressor. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul, which long for death, but it cometh not, and dig for it more than for hid treasures, which rejoice exceedingly and are glad when they can find the grave. Why is the light given to a man whose way is hid, and whom God hath hedged in? For my sighing cometh before I eat, and my roarings are poured out like the waters. For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me. I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet, yet trouble came. Bam, y'all. All right, that's it for the morning Bible readings, and I'll be back this evening, if the good Lord's willing, and the rapture don't happen between now and then. I am so ready to get raptured out of here. I just hope I don't do it in 12-degree weather, because that'll be a cold ride to heaven. I love y'all, friends. Talk to you later, probably.